Okay, so yeah, to start off the interview, if you wouldn't mind just telling me, I guess, like a little bit about your background as an artist, sort of how long you've been a musician, what made you want to start rapping, singing, etc.
Okay, let me just calm my nerves. Oh, sorry. So basically, I've like, will I just say like a whole big spiel and then just kind of rephrase it?
Yeah, cool.
Sorry, I'm just really, I should not be this nervous, but anyway. Okay, so I'm in here, and I'm from Ireland, and I moved over here to study at BIMM, so I could do music. Like, I've always been quite interested in like music and stuff like that, but like actually rapping, it's been a bit on and off. Like the first time like I ever wrote a song, like the first time I ever performed, was basically this time in school. Like there was this person that I was really interested in, and I went to like an all girls school like back in Ireland. It was quite small, and like the place I'm from, there's like 6,000. I think there's like 6,000 people roughly. Western, and I went to this there's like a total of 8 secondary schools, but there's only like 4 secondary schools that like girls can go to, like in Ireland or whatever. And I went to this one. And I was quite small, and just. Let me figure out all of this. Sorry, this is awful. I'm just woken up. I'm so nervous.
It's so good.
But okay, so basically, there was this person that I had my eye on. Okay, but everyone had their eye on them and stuff like that. And I was thinking, how can I shoot my shot in a way that hasn't been done before? Because I didn't want to be too obvious about it as well. So I decided to write them a song. Okay, and I couldn't sing, so I decided to rap. Because I thought, if you can't sing, I don't want to be flat and pitchy and just saying all these words because it won't have the same effect. So then I decided to rap, and I stood on this chair in front of like this whole assembly of like 300 people, like all the years were there or whatever. That was kind of like the first time I rapped, and it worked. So I was like, wow, this works. Maybe I can do this more often. Maybe instead of sending a simple text or a message and just doing it the like blueprint way, I can be a bit cool, quirky and creative, and then just sort of do that. And then I shot my shot, like there was other people during the years and stuff like that. I kind of shot my shot like a few times with that sort of stuff on stages in public. And surprisingly, none of my friends called me out. They all cheered me on, which was a bit strange. And I actually have the original video, which I can show you as well for that, just to give you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Just to give you
to get some insight.
Just to give you like a point of view. Actually, I'll put it out now. It's really bad. It's really bad. It was like the time. So Nice for What, Drake, and he samples that Lauryn Hill song. It was literally when that song came out. Like I didn't have a backing track, nothing, and then I heard it in the car on the way to school, because we were listening to radio or whatever. And I was like, that's a beat I'm gonna use. I'm gonna stand on this chair. So I got like my teacher literally to pull it up on YouTube and then just like do that, and it was jokes, but it worked. And then that's how I kind of started rapping.
Right.
And then it wasn't really until it got to the end of school and I need to figure out what to do. The only two things are I'm terribly dyslexic, and like school was good for me. Like it was jokes and it was banter and it was funny, but like apart from that, I was badly behaved. I was dyslexic. I was doing the bare minimum that I just couldn't get it. And then I couldn't really do like sport as a career because the main sport I played was like Gaelic football, and it's only in Ireland. Do you know what I mean? Like when I talk about it here, like no one knows really well.
It's exclusive, pretty much.
Exactly. So. It was like that and music, and then a couple of years ago I found out about BIMM, and I knew I always wanted to go there. That was the main thing, and I was going to go in Ireland, so I found out about the UK ones and all this stuff, and I was like, but my mum kind of pushed me. She was like, just get out of the country, just explore, do what you want, figure out yourself. And then I chose Birmingham. I literally googled like biggest places in the UK. There was London. I was like, too expensive. And then Birmingham was the second one.
Yeah.
So that's how I chose Birmingham.
That's fair enough.
I'd never like been there or anything, and I just kind of came here, and that was that.
And how have you found Birmingham since moving to Birmingham, would you say?
Oh, amazing, mate.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
No, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. There's so much to do. There's so many like different types of people. This video, but I'll
so
see it.
very culturally diverse.
Definitely, 100%. And that's kind of why my mum encouraged me to come here as well. Because when I love my hometown. It's like it will always be home. Beautiful, scenically, do you know what I mean? I've got some of the best boys like at home. Like for example, when I did like my first show here, I just put it on my private story, and like I was just getting messages swiped up, and like it was just my friends screenshotting like flight tickets and all of this stuff. And like a lot of my friends came over and visited. They bought the tickets for the show, and then they all came and stayed with me, or they got hotels, and we had the best time ever.
Yeah,
like
that's awesome.
People from home were so supportive, especially like my mates or whatever. And I can't get better mates, but yeah, homesick. But over here, like it's crazy. Like where I'm from, there's only like one real main street, and then there's like there's more like churches and shops sort of vibe.
Okay.
Like that's what's kind of going on there. So there wasn't much diversity. Like I always remember being like usually like the only like black person in the class or whatever. But coming over here, there's like so many different like mixtures of stuff, and like it's so sick getting to know like people from all different backgrounds and stuff like that. So I think it's quite kind of like opened my mind up to like a load of different things, which is sick.
Yeah.
So I like Birmingham in that sense. Plus as well, like I was saying, there's like one main street, like the max building I ever saw was like a 3-story building. But when I came here, I swear the first month I was just looking around like, oh, the buildings are so tall.
Yeah, it's like you just got like arrived at New York or something.
Exactly,
like,
that's what I was thinking.
A completely different world to what you used to.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. You know Snow Hill?
Yeah.
So you know the big building in Snow Hill, that like brown one opposite like the train station? I was looking at that and I was like, wow, I've arrived in the big city. I didn't know where it was, but like just even walking around there and picturing like all the big buildings, I was like, I don't know where I am, but this is something new.
No, that's really funny you say that actually, because I remember a few years ago I took I'm from like quite a small town, like near Nottinghamshire kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I took one of my mates from there to Manchester for the first time.
Yeah.
And he'd never seen anything like it either. He'd never seen like buildings taller than 3 stories or anything like that. And he was literally going around taking pictures.
That's exactly what I was doing.
I was there laughing like you're a tourist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amusing that. No, I appreciate that kind of story. But yeah, in terms of like you as a performer then, since like, you know, as you said, you had started back in school and now your journey to BIMM and stuff like that, how would you describe Anita Quinn as a performer to someone who maybe isn't quite as familiar with you and your work?
It's quite, so I grew up kind of doing like acting and like performing. I went to like this performing arts school and stuff when I was younger.
Yeah.
So there was sport and then there was just acting, do you know what I mean? Because I like talking, I like being on stage, I like a bit of that attention, I'm going to be brutally honest. Do you know what I mean? Like I like the freedom that you have on stage. So I feel like naturally from like growing up and being that and like being taught to like take up the whole stage, like, because I'm gonna tell you a secret here. I was pretty much like an empty student. Do you know what I mean? I was in Chicago, like I was in all of the big musicals. I cannot lie. I was in them like at home and stuff. So it's very much like I like things to keep moving. I've got ADHD, so I need things to be interesting. So like when I have a band, I want everyone to be doing something, but I want it to have a purpose. Like I don't want just noise and just a lot of movement. Like it's quite thought out, do you know what I mean? Like with the boys and stuff like that, we learn the songs and then we think about like sort of, which I got taught from BIMM is like dynamics and like what looks good, what can you pull back and stuff like that, and how to like take over the stage. And then in between like songs as well, I like telling a story around, like I like making a set list and then making it have like a story, like highs and lows and stuff like that, with originals and covers, and then just some sets with just originals and just like everything having a purpose and just being interesting to watch instead of just like, okay, this is my first song, few foot taps and then the next song and then thank you. Do you know what I mean? Quite like, I just like being big and like energetic on stage and just having a lot to say and a lot to watch, do you know what I mean? That's sort of what I'm on at the moment, and then I just incorporate that with the band over time.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So yeah, in terms of like the kind of things you just mentioned there, what would you say have been your like major like main influences of like Anita Quinn in your direction, in terms of like whether it's either like musicians you're a fan of or like popular media, whether it's, you know, film, TV, anything like that? What would you say have like inspired you and like pieced the kind of musician you are today?
I think a lot of things. I think in terms of like script and like talking and like interacting, I think it was definitely that drama thing with like learning how to improv and all that stuff, and that you can make it entertaining but funny, but not, and learning not to talk too much.
Yeah.
And then also as well, my mum, she has like a coffee store. Like that's one of her jobs. Like it's just like a job that she has like for fun, kind of at the weekend, because she likes talking and stuff like that. And like when customers ask her questions, she always knew what to say. Like I remember always sitting in her stall, and she used to sell this like rare sort of coffee, and she didn't have a script, but she was always talking about how it's like roasting from Moy, it's from like all of this place, and like stuff like that. So I kind of learned that like there's like, if you can story tell in what you're saying, like it's a really interesting thing. So I think I picked that up from my mum like when I was younger and whatnot, and just seeing how people like engage with her and all that stuff, I just thought it was cool. I've only realised that recently, that's where I got it from. And then the drama and stuff like that, the whole improv thing, those two combined is like how I present myself when I talk on stage. And then in terms of like energy and stuff like that, I like a lot of, I don't even know when it comes to rap, I don't listen to rap, which is quite strange.
Right.
Like I listen to George Michael, Michael Bublé, R&B. Like no
that's
rap.
really interesting.
No rap, and it's really bad. And like, to be fair, my mates are like, "Come on now, like listen to a bit more rap." I'm trying to get into it. Like, do you know what I mean? It was so bad in BIMM, like the first year. One of my tutors, like he sat down and made me like this big massive rap playlist. This guy called Chris.
All the like essentials and stuff.
Yeah, and he like all the old, all the new stuff, things that he thought that I would be like interested in, and he took the time, and like God bless him, he's one of my songwriting teachers, like Chris Ty. He's a sick guy, man, and like some of my mates have like been inspiring me, and like in terms of like songs and stuff like that, I even like orchestral stuff. I just like big and dramatic and interesting stuff, something that just captures your attention.
Just captivating music in general. Yeah.
100%.
No one set thing.
Yeah. But then, like, since I've been at BIMM, like, I've listened to a lot of stuff. Like, even indie music, before I came to BIMM, I'd never, ever seen an indie band live. I'd heard of the 1975, like, that chocolate song, and that was it, do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So then, that
was your crash course.
That was my
music, just that one 1975 song.
That one song, that was it. And now, since I've been here for the last 2 years, I have seen every indie song.
Right, yeah.
Known to man. Do you know what I mean? Supporting my boys and just like being involved in the scene. I feel like now when I go to shows and stuff like that, I pick up things of like everything. I like just going to shows. Like I've got this mate Zay who's from Portugal, he's in Santu, and like just I think like there's some like small things that I've watched from him from his like stage performance. Or I've just picked up on small things, and it's just an amalgamation of kind of everything. And like now I watch a lot of like live performances, and I pick out like different bits that I like and just try and imitate that and like take it into my own style and just.
That's really interesting, because that's exactly what Broken Drumstick said. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They were at the Future Sound Weekender as well, and I interviewed them literally yesterday, and they said the exact same thing. Their main influence was just like going to a lot of shows or watching shows on the internet and stuff like that, and just picking out those things that you think are really interesting, and that you're like, I want to do that. I want to be like that person. And just piecing all those things together into your own performances. So yeah, that's really interesting. I don't know. I think that's a really good like main influence to have. Is just to like, just like, because like stage presence is like so important, isn't it? Like captivating an audience.
100%.
So.
Yeah, because I feel like I don't know. What was I gonna say there? But there's some things as well that I've seen that are really cool and I've tried to pick up. Like there's certain like performers who are really good dancers, and I've tried in my room to like replicate the same moves. I videoed myself and I thought
practicing your moves and stuff in the mirror kind of thing. Or?
Yeah, awful. In the mirror, recording it, FaceTiming with my boys, showing them, and they're like, no, please stop. Never do that again. Please stop.
Too far.
They won't be able to claim me after it. Do you know what I mean? There's been some events and moments that I've been told by my boys I thought were really cool, and then after my boys have said, you know what, maybe save that for home, and then I've rethought about it.
Yeah, keep that in the drafts. Though.
Yes. Especially with some romantic gestures that I've thought about doing on stage. People have said, keep that in the back.
That's so funny.
Just do it in your own privacy.
Workshop them a bit maybe, and then maybe someday you'd be able to fully actualize some of those.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, no, that's really funny. So moving on now to sort of like the kind of music you do perform. Is it like, do you perform original songs or is it like covers?
Most of it, how I describe it is most of it's are like original songs. Do you know what I mean? And I always write about life.
Yeah, so, I've noticed that. Yeah.
All the time. The way I see my songs is it's like a time capsule of like some piece of like my life that's like happened or whatever. And I'm not the fuck. Sometimes if it's happened straight away, like I hear a little beat and a hook comes and I'm like, yeah, like it comes out straight at once. But then sometimes it takes like a lot more time. But always how I would describe it is I Taylor Swift people. Do you know what I mean? Right. Sometimes in a good way, and then sometimes in a let me just rap my side.
You have a big list of like people you've like exes and stuff you've written songs about or something. A few. Not too many.
To be fair, I've only actually had like one proper ex, and then others have just been I shared a time where you share emotions and life experiences. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess getting out your frustrations and stuff like that.
Yeah. 100%.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, some of them are nice songs though. Or I've written some songs about like my friend as well, my friends as well. Or like even like basically where I'm from, like in Ireland as well. The one thing you do, there's a certain way that you kind of live. There's a way you live, and there's like a lot of unspoken rules. And one of them is you have crack and banter and you joke all the time, but you don't really talk about like your emotions as much.
Right.
And like I was very strong on that. Like before I came here, I was like, I'm so embarrassed of my emotions. I ain't open up to nobody, and like use like a lot of humor to like describe like some like situations and stuff like that. The song, one of my favorite songs, is a song I wrote called Small Town, and it was about someone that I knew from home that like passed away and stuff like that through like suicide, and it's just kind of like a song like actually expressing my emotions, and that was the first time I like ever kind of did it, and it was just like being honest. So like there's a lot of times I do like Taylor Swift people and just take the piss, or like.
There's other times it's like, I guess it comes from a place of like affection or respect or like grief, as you said there. That's really quite a beautiful thing. So I can respect that. Was there anything else you wanted to say on that topic?
I don't know. Apart from that, sometimes I write songs about being in the wrong, like in situations.
Admitting where you fucked up.
There was this song I had called "We Lied to Ourselves," and it was basically me thinking like I was with this person for a while. I wasn't like in a relationship with them, but I wasn't sure if I liked them or if I loved them or if I was just comfortable being with them. And then realized I was in the wrong, even though I told them they're like, oh, don't fall for me because I don't know what I'm doing. And then it just kind of developed and happened anyway. It was just a song about me being in the wrong. And that's what I've recently learned to do, to like write songs about absolutely everything and just
own it.
Do you know what I mean? Because if I don't tell the story, someone else is gonna tell it, and they're probably gonna make me sound worse. So I might as well just be honest.
You've got to beat them to it essentially.
Exactly, 100%.
No, that's quite a funny way, quite a humorous way of putting it. Moving on to I guess going back to your like live performances and stuff like that. You have your backing band. Are they like people you met on your course at BIMM?
Yeah, to be fair, it's everyone that I'm mates with, and I think that is why we're so tight and we kind of get on. And the thing with us is like I've had a couple of the first time I ever had a band was literally in BIMM. It was like kind of halfway through BIMM because I started out in production. Because I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the next big thing. I'm gonna be behind the decks. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm gonna record everyone. And then the way the production course was, we didn't like when I got there. Like, no one was really talking to each other. And then I got a bit upset about that. I was gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna live in this big city and I'm gonna have no friends. Quick, let me off. And then I started talking to someone randomly in the school, and they were on like the performance courses. And then I always with this whole songwriting thing, I was kind of off and on, like I was writing for specific moments or specific people, do you know what I mean? Like on and off sporadically. And then I was like, you know what, I'm going to take a crack at this like songwriting course. So I transitioned and I swapped.
Right, okay.
And my mum told me to do the songwriting course the whole time. And I was like, no, I'm going to be a producer. You just don't get the dream, you don't get the vision. And like always, my mum was right. But it takes me a while to just try something that goes wrong and then accept her guidance.
Right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I moved to songwriting course, and like one of the classes they had is like MIW, so you get put in a band and you have to do they give you a song and you have to either remix it, rewrite it, or do a variation of it, or just do the song. So I was in like a band from that or whatever, and then I performed like, because I was new and because they didn't really know what to do, they were like, you can do whatever song you want.
Right.
So I just kind of like went around the room and I was like, you play guitar, you look cool, come with me.
Right, okay.
Or whatever. And then I did this song and it was like, You Need Me, Ed Sheeran. Because it was like the only like rap song that I knew relatively well enough that I could rap and perform and knew the words off by heart. Because the rest was just, I'm not getting on stage and singing Michael Bublé. It's not a good first impression.
Right,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's something that I keep for my own heart and my own time. So I did that performance there. And then people like actually seemed to like vibe and like it. And I was like, okay. And like people were like, oh, like if you need like someone to play, whatever, like just let me know. So I started like going through all those people. And like working with them and just doing like random covers, doing random like originals and stuff like that. And then I worked my way through that. And then eventually I came out of a band which was just literally my mates. And some And then, so I made mates with people, but they all happened to play like different instruments. They're all from different friend groups.
Yeah.
And talking to everyone. And like, I think after I did like my first feature with my mate, Havana, so she was doing a performance in Sunny, and she needed someone to rap. And the person that she asked, there's only 2 rappers in songwriting. She asked Charlie to do it, but then Charlie couldn't do it, so she like asked me or whatever. And I couldn't do it, but I changed. I was going home 2 days later, but I changed my flight. So my mum bought me a flight, and then I booked another flight 2 days later so I could do the performance with her. Do you know what I mean? So, because I wanted my first gig, so I was like, you know what, Mum, I love you respectfully, but I'll buy a flight out of my own money, and I'll come home this day so I can do this like rap. And then we built a friendship from that. And then she's a person who always does like my backing vocals. We write together as well, and we like. So I've got some. She's an artist, I'm an artist, and then we also like write songs together. And we just chill about. And she's one of my best mates now. But that's how I got my backing vocalists, and the rest are literally just my mates. So like the band is just all my mates. So like when we're rehearsing, we know when something sounds shit, so we can say, all right, come on, pack it up here, like, do you know what I mean? Come on, you're being shit, come on. And it's not like a personal thing. And that's what I think is really good as well. That if you're in a band with your mates, you can be honest with them, because realistically they already know all the gossip you have to spread. So now you can so now the gossip is said, you can twist it and make it creative and make it into a song.
It's already out there. So
do you know what I mean?
Utilize it.
There's no point in lying because they're your friends, so you don't have to. You can be professional, but you can also be laid back and open and honest. So that's my band now. So now that's why we get on so well, and that's why we can do so many things on stage. And like as well, sometimes we can wing it because we know how each other operate. Do you know what I mean? And we know our like stylistic tendencies, so we can cover up after each other as well. So like the performances always seem well put together, even if there's only 2 rehearsals and we're winging it. We know each other like inside and out. So just
that's a great thing to have, definitely.
In it.
I think I know who you're talking about. Your backing singer. I think they were at the couple of gigs I've been to of yours. If that's correct.
She's always in here.
Yeah. What's her story? Because I think you mentioned something about her being like having some big opportunity being signed or something like that. Was that?
Oh,
right?
she got signed to River Street. She got signed to River Street Records this year or something like that. So it's a record label in my uni at the moment. Okay. So she's just released a track, and then she's releasing another track soon as well. And I went to her release party as well. And like just us being mates, like I always go to all my boys like rehearsals and stuff like that. And she has I would like in songwriting, she's got a fantastic voice, she's got fantastic lyrics, but sometimes she just doesn't like push her confidence enough. So
that's understandable.
But she's absolutely fantastic. So I'm always shouting like, come on boy, like, do you know what I mean? You've got more talent than me, come on, rinse it. Do you know what I mean? Shake it for all it's worth.
Yeah, keep pushing.
But she's come on so much this year, like, do you know what I mean? Stage presence wise and everything. But like, when you're mates with someone, we just help each other in different avenues. Like, I used to hate singing, like, do you know what I mean? I still kind of do, but she helped me with that. She was telling me, come on, push it with your chest now, do you know what I mean? Stop dragging the arse out of it. But fantastic. Brilliant singer.
No, that's awesome. It's good to like make those connections and stuff like that as well. I'm sure that'll be like a lifelong thing. You'll be able to like collaborate on a bunch of projects like during BIMM and post BIMM as well.
Oh, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
Like there's been friends that I've made that I know full on, like lifelong. Like even my keys player, Toby, he's from Morgan, and he's also like an artist. He's a like super keys player as well. Last year I had to go home to go to like this grad ball or whatever. So me and him like literally just dipped from BIMM, flew over to Ireland, went to this grad ball or whatever, spent like the weekend over there, got really pissed drunk. I had like a great time. I introduced him to a lot of my friends, went to all the scenes. He met like my parents and stuff like that, and like a lot of the lads want to come over to Ireland again, and like
that's
even
awesome.
outside of him. So yeah, like the friendships that I've made, like the real ones, definitely will continue on for a lifetime.
Amazing. Yeah, definitely some like great connections there by the sounds of things.
Definitely.
So yes, talking about BIMM a bit further, I wasn't expecting to talk about BIMM so much, but there's like so much juicy like information like you're sharing about it here. I feel like I might as well know more about it, and sort of like the process behind all that. So you said you swapped to like a songwriting course? You said, what was it you were doing originally? Did you say
I was doing production.
Production, yeah. So what do you think's like your like end goal later down the line in your career? Do you want to continue being like the person on stage writing songs, or would you rather be like maybe I don't know, more of like a behind the scenes person, like writing songs for like other people? Maybe. What do you think? Where do you see yourself essentially?
To be fair, like if you asked me this question last year, I would have said no idea, because I'm gonna be really honest. I learned to produce the Christmas before, so I was not very good. But I still got in. I don't know how, but I got in. But then there was a little bit of a change over summer. So the reason, well, it's not the reason why I started producing, but one, because that mom would be like, oh, that would be a sick attribute. And then I also realized the prices of paying someone to produce for you, studio fees. I was like, no, by the grace of God, I'm going to learn. So I spent from like Christmas to about like June learning how to produce. And in this time, I was in like a 2-year relationship. I was in love. It was coming up to someone that I was in love with, 18th birthday. So I decided to write them an 18-track album.
Oh my God.
Mix, master, produce, songwrite, lyricism. Then I got my heart broken. I vowed never to produce again.
Right, Jesus.
Never to produce again. So I had spent from about May to August not producing. I kept my laptop closed. I was not writing songs. I was emotionally switched off.
That door was not getting opened.
It was not. It was locked. Bullshit. It was in a safe and it was not coming free. So, like when I came to BIMM and I was doing like production and stuff like that, one, I realized I'm not a very good producer because I was getting okay and then I stopped for months. I went stagnant. I was dormant.
You kind of you have to like readjust to it again, haven't you, after a while?
You have to be on it like every day or every second day. You have to have like a religious use because it comes muscle memory.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there was no muscle memory in my gut. And then when I got in the room and stuff like that, I think different pathways attract different like sorts of people and stuff like that. And there was like a lot of like introverted people or people who had like their own cliques or people they knew before. So I was feeling lost. I was trying to talk to people and they either had their own groups they weren't interested like from the start, or like they just I don't know, they just didn't really want to talk. So I was just a bit like, oh, no friends, big city, no friends. Do you know what I mean? And then I met some of the people on the performance. And then they were like the years kind of divided into two. There's producers and then there's all the performers, the vocalists, all the songwriters.
Right, yeah.
And then I kind of drifted over to that side and everyone was mingling, everyone was getting on, everyone was active. They were doing gigs and I was like, I want to be on stage. I want to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I'd grown up being on stage with like the whole drama thing. I was like,
so it just made sense.
I was like, where's my time? Where is my time?
Where's my pass? You know?
Exactly. Hello, please.
I'm right here.
Exactly. Let me on. You just don't know it yet. But I promise.
No, I get that.
I can do this one Ed Sheeran song, and like I promise I'll milk it for a few months, but I can do this. Through that, then I started talking to people randomly and stuff like that. Like my second day in Birmingham, I was with someone. Okay, so I also went to ATM for like 2 weeks as well, because basically I got into both. I'd never been to Birmingham. I'd never seen either campus in real life. I just went to open days. So I accepted both places and just kind of came over. ACM started, I don't know if I should be linking this whatever, but ACM started 2 weeks earlier. So I went there and stuff like that. But they didn't really the tutors didn't really engage us. Like for our first day, they just showed us how to set up canvas and sent us home. Like there wasn't even a minute to say, okay, this is me, hello, like I do this. Not the
greatest introduction, man.
I was just kind of like, hello? Like, how am I supposed to make friends? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And then I went to BIMM, and then they had this big, like, open day, like, concert, and also they had people talking about their experiences.
It was a lot more friendly overall, I'm guessing.
Exactly, and there was, like, it was in the middle, like, jumping the big stage in the middle, like, they were, like, talking, they were introducing each other, they gave us something to mingle, like, not free drinks, like, not like pints or anything, but just, like, soft drinks and stuff like that. You had everyone that had a tab and everything like that. So when I went there and then they were talking about the opportunities and people were talking about their whole like experiences and everything, I was like, okay, this is a place for me, like everyone likes to talk and stuff. And then literally, funny enough, so they had that thing like last year, that's what decided me to come to BIMM. And then this year they asked me to like be on the panel as well and talk about my experience in like BIMM so far. So like it was a whole juxtaposition of like just started and I'll get to talk about that was me last year and then get to be on the panel as well. So that was sick. And then I got paid to perform as well, so that was dope.
Hell yeah. Yeah, no. That doesn't get better than that.
That was dope. But as you were saying about what do I want to do? I want to do a mixture of stuff, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. You want to be the full package, just triple threat.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I used to watch all those performance shows like in the schools, and they were like triple threat, acting, singing, dancing. Like that's what I wanted to be, but I couldn't sing or dance, so that could not be me. So that's how I knew that pathway wasn't for me. I was interested in it, but it was not calling my name.
The mirror dancing stuff again.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, that door was shut. It never opened. It was always shut. But I can look through it. It's a see-through door, but I just can't get through. I kind of want to. So my whole like dream, as in artist-wise, I want to be like the first open gay black female rapper like from Ireland. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that's what I want to be. That's the main thing. But apart from that, like I kind of want to get into like social media and like presenting and stuff like that. Like running people's social media accounts, not necessarily being like an interviewer, influencer, but I kind of want to be a host. I kind of want to be like a radio presenter. I like talking.
Okay.
I like getting on with like people and stuff.
I can
like
definitely
that.
see you doing radio and stuff like that. I feel like you've got the voice for it, for one, and I mean, if this interview's proved anything, you're like good at talking.
I'm just talking the whole of
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Like you can keep like the conversation going is what I mean though. Like which is like obviously, I mean, you don't want like silence during a radio. That's like the one thing you need to like avoid.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I can definitely see that like becoming like a reality, definitely.
Thank you. And then I'm just kind of like going in between things as well. I think maybe I don't know. Like I was thinking about like learning photography and videography, but I might be awful at it. I like visuals. I think visuals are sick. Do you know what I mean? But that's one thing that's on the bucket list to like learn and stuff as well. But just things that incorporate like people, community, culture, like those two things, and just talking to people, getting to know people, and just having your little moment to talk on stage, but then also like just bringing people together and all that's like, I don't know, that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. Trying to build a community. I don't know exactly how, but there are some of the things that...
You've got time to figure all that out anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that sounds really good. It sounds like you're on a good track to do those things as well. So yeah, no, awesome stuff. I've got a few more questions here. So I'm going to sort of tail back towards like future sound projects stuff now, and sort of like the Birmingham scene at large, and sort of how you feel about like that and like all that kind of stuff. So obviously that was where I was introduced to you primarily, was when I was working that. Do you have like I don't know, what's your like relationship with like Future Sound as like promoters? Have you worked with them like before that, or is that your first time like working with them?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, like my first ever gig was like rapping a verse for my mate, hopping on stage, doing a little bar for bar thing. And that gig that she put on was in Sunny, but it was from Future Sound.
Right, okay.
And then after I kind of did that, like people chucked up a couple of videos, and people were like, "Oh, you're like sick, blah blah blah. Can you rap for me at this event? Can you rap for me at this event?" And then so like I kind of started off with indirectly Future Sound through my mate or whatever, and then I just started rapping for like everyone for like different sets. Like I did every genre. I did from like mellow pop to ballads to like she did a Plan B song to like punk in like the O2 Institute. Like my mate Charlie had this band called Prime Boys, and they were like a big massive like aggressive punk band, whatever. And we did do you know the Beastie Boys?
Yes.
Fight for Your Right. I had to put on a persona. When I'm telling you, they pulled me out on this. I can show you a video of that as well. But they had to. They pulled me out. I did like a rap. I like rap for them and stuff like that.
That's
and
awesome.
That was crazy. That was with Catapult. That was with the Catapult Club as well. That's like a different promoter.
Right. Yeah.
So. I think it was a couple of months of just doing features and like just going on all the stages and like playing all the venues like just by accident, just saying, because like when people were asking me, I was just like, yeah. Like even if
just take every opportunity. Yeah.
No, that's what I do. I say yes, even if I've got no skill set. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I say yes, and then I do the research after, and then I just try and pull that out of the bag. Like.
I relate to that big time. Yeah, as a photographer, it's pretty much the same thing. If you want to find work, you've got to be like a jack of all trades. You've got to just try everything.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, that's definitely like the right approach, I'd say.
100%. So that was probably in like January, and I was just doing months of like that because I was like, I couldn't tell if I was shit or not. That's what it was. So I was like, I was nervous to put a gig on because I couldn't tell if I was shit. Because like from September to literally that December date before like someone was like asked me to perform, I couldn't tell if I was shit. Like because at home like it's like people are supportive when you've got something going on, but when you're starting something out, like we have a natural habit to take the piss out of people. Like,
of course,
like it's just like that's the culture at home. Like you just take the piss, but you take the piss with love. But when you're starting out something new that you're like a bit shy and nervous about, if someone takes the piss out of you, you started and stopped and that's it. Like it's dead, it's buried in the ground.
Like that hits home.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like no matter how like thick skinned you are. So like that time period, I had imposter syndrome. I was thinking I was shit. I was thinking, oh, people only listen to me because they think I've got like an accent. Yeah, like cool, whatever. And then like in those like months where I was doing features, I was kind of building up my confidence and stuff like that. And then people were kind of giving me a short reassurance that okay, you're not that bad. So
no, you're not that bad.
No, people
could be worse, I guess.
It is. Well, people were saying to me like, oh yeah, that was really sick. You're really good. That's so hard. That's so cool. Because people have like. I've noticed people like in Birmingham, they say, oh yeah, that's hard, that's so cold and stuff like that. But in my head, that was translating to like, I was translating that through Irish, and I was just like, yeah, you're not that shit, like, do you know what I mean?
Right,
so I was like, even if you get like the highest comment from someone, like the way it gets filtered to the Irish brain is like, yeah, it's alright, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, we always, as people, then naturally we just focus on the negative, don't we? Like one person
so bad for it.
One person could have like a slightly negative opinion of your show, whereas like the majority would have a positive. You'd still focus on the negative. It's just how things work.
100%.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just unfortunate how things play out like that, unfortunately. But I mean, I've been to your shows. You know, I can confirm that you're like hopefully entertaining performer.
Thank you.
So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that.
Like even when you came to that gig at like Symphony Hall, I was fuming. Like, I thought it was so shit, but it was because I had never really done like an acoustic set. So when I'm like adjusting to things anew, like I don't have a standard of okay, I want things to be at this level, but I want to push myself. And when I don't feel like I've pushed myself to full max, boy do I go on about it. I'm like, that was shit. Like no one's ever gonna want to see it again. Like I swear, we were like so. I got asked to do the International Women's Day at Symphony Hall. So I had like Vanna and then I had Eddie on guitar and like you were there or whatever, and it was a different environment for me, so I was a bit iffy about it. But I wanted to take the opportunity and I wanted to just say yes and like push myself and try. I feel like I didn't push myself enough. So we like, it was during the day and we had like a lesson at the end of the day. So we went from Symphony Hall to Mackey's. I talked all the way. I was grabbing Eddie's arm because I'm a really slow walker and Eddie wanted to get to Mackey's and get back to BIMM really fast. So I was like dragging onto Eddie's arm and he was speed walking. I was like, that was so bad. Like no one will ever want to hear our music again. Why was I not talking enough? Like where was the energy? Where was the environment? Like where was anything?
Yeah, it's a different vibe though.
I know,
like,
but
it's a different vibe.
It was tragic. I was on edge the whole time, do you know what I mean? But I think like naturally I need to like settle back into that. Because I did that and I thought it was so bad. I was like, I didn't even push myself. Where was the dynamics? Where was the movement? I was like, this is shit. Like this was so bad. And I went on about it for ages. But thank God Eddie was my friend, so he was like talking me down or whatever and it was calm. But I like a certain level of good in my head, and if it's not, I'll get annoyed.
No, I get that. We're all our own biggest critics at the end of the day. But yeah, with stuff like that, I mean, you need to consider, obviously, Future Sound, you were in like a gig venue there.
Yeah.
Like, the expectations are for there to maybe be a bit more movement, or there's be a bit more excitement there. But the Symphony Hall, like, acoustic set, one, it's an acoustic set, so it's more stripped back, it's more casual, it's more laid back. And two, like, the venue, it was like just a cafe kind of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, the vibe's gonna be like
more
a
intimate,
bit more
yeah.
intimate, laid back. Like everyone was sat down, so like, yeah, I think in those scenarios you just need to like, I guess, think more about like the kind of setting everything's in and stuff like that. So it's okay if it's like a bit less exciting than my usual gigs because you know it's supposed to, it's like that in the context that makes sense kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know.
But I completely forgot the question, but I remembered it now. And in terms of Future Sound, they helped me out with my like first gig. I actually, after doing those like couple of months of features, I was just like, hi, I rap and I go to BIMM and I've done a few features around like the city. And like that place, I had like by accident, I kind of played every venue apart from the Victoria, like in Birmingham, like just like with other people as well.
Apart from the Victoria.
Not that I'm anything against it.
It just sounded like, oh yeah.
No, sorry.
Avoiding that place.
Sorry. No, just no one had asked me to like rap there, so I just like I've been there for pumpkins and stuff, but I hadn't been asked to rap there. But through that, I got like a lot of opportunities from them, and then like other promoters like sort of like picked up. And after I did that Symphony Hall thing, I got asked by like Noise Pollution to do the first stripped back like event in like HMV. So that was sick.
Yeah, no, that was awesome.
that was actually really sick. And because what I do is after every performance, I record every single performance, and I go and I sit in my room and I watch myself back and I was like, shit, fucking shit.
Yeah, you're analysing every second.
Exactly. You know the way, another inspiration of mine is like, you know, because I grew up playing sports and stuff like that. People watch like their like showreels of like sports and they like pick apart all their plays and stuff like that. I do that but with music. I'm like, okay, this needs to be brought up more. Like this needs to be doing that.
I get that. Yeah, I get that.
I like. I spend way too much time doing it. Do you know what I mean? I always
You'll be watching it back like that was cringe. Oh, that was alright.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was awful.
Yeah, but most of it is like, yeah, that shit. And then I kind of sit and line the scene. I was like, oh, is this really for me? Do you know what I mean? But then I carry on and then bring my notes back to boys.
That's what's funny though. You're going to be the only person picking up on those things. Everyone else is such a minute thing. No one's going to notice, or no one's even going to think that was cringe or that was bad or anything like that. That's just because you're like analysing every like millisecond of your like
exactly replaying it in slow motion.
Yeah.
Or if I just move my foot this way slightly,
drop it down to a quarter of a second speed. Like.
Exactly, man. It's crazy. Oh my days. But yeah, like from that, like once I kind of got the ball rolling, I've got like loads of like sick experiences, and like sometimes it kind of takes me a minute for like me to kind of look back at where I came from, like literally rapping on a chair, like in the middle of a room to a gal, like do you know what I mean? So like playing like Symphony Hall, like HMV, and like all of these things that like I didn't really think was possible. Like even having a band is like it's like a sick opportunity.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And then like as well at the start of the year we had this event and it was like for like a lot of unis, it was like a freshers fair and stuff. And like I opened up the whole event and like Olivia Garland was playing and like DJ Target, who's like the guy who kind of runs the rap game and like was one of the founders. Yeah, and one of the like official like founders of like grime stuff in the UK. And like that kind of just passed by my head, and then now I'm thinking back on it, I'm like, that's actually kind of sick. Do you know what I mean? So it's been good. I just kind of talk to everyone and just try and be involved and go to networking events and just chat shit with. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. That's all. Yeah, like really important stuff as well. So. Yeah, and then talking a bit more about like the overall Birmingham scene that you've like kind of found yourself in. I feel like overall there's like definitely a great sense of community with what you said, like everyone like booking each other for shows and stuff like that, and like you know, you often find a lot of the same people on like the same lineups, like booking each other for their own like headline shows and stuff like that. How would you say like that sense of community and like support system within the scene has like encouraged you to like keep putting yourself out there kind of thing and like keep going to gigs, keep playing gigs? How would you say that's affected your like drive?
I think a lot because I feel like when you're surrounded by like-minded people, which is what I didn't have at home.
Yeah.
I think it does encourage you because like people are like, okay, this was like sick, blah blah, and you've got like a talking point. You go to other people's gigs, like you say, okay, this was sick, blah blah blah, and you've just got like a lot of people like encouraging, and it's not something to fall back on. But when you're like in those moments of, oh fuck, am I shit, which happens like once or twice every 2 weeks, like it's a lot. Do you know what I mean? But like obviously you don't voice it the whole time. But there's lots of moments where I'm lying there and I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? What am I doing? Like I don't know. But it's a good place to be, like, do you know what I mean? And it's also, if you have a dream as well, like you can talk to people and they don't just laugh in your face and they're not like, are you messing, like what's wrong with you, like are you sick in the head, like it's like, or who the fuck do you think you are? It's like, yeah, this is like possible and we're all just like chasing stuff and we're all just trying to like get our own unique things. Plus as well, like when you're like around and you're surrounded by creatives, you get taught like a lot of things that you would never find out just from like the internet or whatever, and there's like loads of in-pocket things like going around, and a lot of things that you find out is by word of mouth or through people sharing stuff or just asking and inquiring, and just it's phenomenal, like, do you know what I mean? It's really 100%. For whatever you're doing as well, like even though I know like the Birmingham scene is like predominantly like indie and like just like rock or like metal, from what I've seen, like there's still like different pockets and stuff like that you can get involved in, and like even if you're doing something different, people from other genres will still appreciate it and they'll still come and support, like, do you know what I mean? We just build rapport with them and just get on and just have the crack, like.
Yeah, no, 100%. And yeah, I mean, personally for me, like I've found the scene to be like just super welcoming of me and my services and like talents as well in terms of like photographing and stuff. So I totally see that as well. It is I agree. It is very I don't know, encouraging and just like pushes you to keep putting yourself out there, keep trying harder. And I mean, I've made some great connections as well through doing this. Like obviously meeting you and all of the bands in this project. That would have been possible without, just feeling like, I don't know, just feeling like everyone's approachable and stuff like that.
100%.
Always willing to like collaborate on stuff. So, I literally, personally for me as well, I couldn't speak higher of this scene and stuff, so.
Definitely.
Yeah. Right, and then like continuing that topic, obviously we mentioned at the beginning, like it's obviously amazing how great and like diverse Birmingham is culturally, but would you say like that is reflected in the music scene today in like Birmingham, would you say?
I think there's like certain genres that are quite predominant and like prominent in like the scene and stuff like that, and like it can be quite intimidating at the start. Do you know what I mean? Because there's been many times where I thought, okay, I'm either gonna be a drum rapper, or I'm gonna be like an indie rapper, because it just seems like it's not the thing to do, or it's not the suggested thing. But like if you're like thinking about it and you're just watching the scene, it seems like that's where it's easiest to find a community to grow in and get along with. Do you know what I mean? So it can be quite intimidating to do something different. But once you kind of do something different, there's people from other genres and different avenues that reach out and say, okay, this is sick. I've got a mate who's also interested in this, and like introduce you. So then you kind of form your own community.
Right,
but the start, man, is fucking scary. It is so scary. There's been so many times where I was like, all right, boys, send me like an indie playlist. Let's see what I can do with this. Do you know what I mean? Or like I've tried to rap on drill. Like I've tried to do like things where I know there's an actual community for it. But like, do you know what I mean? I'm still figuring it out. But like I'm finding my own place and my own like. It's like everything's just like a mountain valley, and I'm finding my own peak just to sit on and just grow with it.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I mean, it is good to see artists like yourself who do more like rap-oriented stuff on lineups with, say, your like indie bands and like all of that like stuff as well. Because I feel like the scene is like, at least the younger scene is predominantly stuff like that. So it is nice to see like stuff like what you're making, sort of like finding its way into like those kind of scenes as well. But yeah, I mean, at times it does kind of feel like people kind of, as you said, like split off into their little groups or like subcultures and whatever, and kind of stick with that. I mean, I've photographed like predominantly rap or like grime events before, where it's just that, or like predominantly indie rock events, and you don't always see the two, or like you don't see them like cross paths a lot of the time, which I guess is a little bit discouraging sometimes, because you want to see that culture kind of, you want to see Birmingham kind of just become one big thing, don't you?
Exactly. And especially if you go to both of them and you don't fit into either, then you're like, oh my fuck, what am I on now? Like, do you know what I mean? But that's the thing as well. Like when you like make mates with people and you get on with people, then you like eventually you'll find your thing. Like it doesn't. You can be involved, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in one particular way. Yeah. And then you can still keep pushing and going and just whatever, cracking on.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I agree with that. Yes, I mean, I think we've pretty much covered everything on my list there. Before we sort of conclude things for the recording, is there anything else you wanted to like plug or mention before we finish here, just to like promote any upcoming songs or gigs or whatever else? No pressure. I've flew to Belfast and I've got a load of songs recorded. I just don't know when they're going to come out yet.
And then I've got projects, but they're not fully in wraps yet. So maybe
that's fair enough.
Yeah, so I'll let you know when they do happen though.
Yeah, just keep an eye open essentially then. Okay, cool. Well, in that case, thanks for chatting with me today. It's been good fun. And thanks for being a part of this project as well.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.